Hello, Ravens, I'm the one known as Crow, and we are here today to talk about a movie I've seen recently about the Spanish Inquisition. Yeah, you never expect the Spanish Inquisition. Monty Python reference. No one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition. Anyway, it is of course Assassin's Creed, the new movie that I actually enjoyed. I actually enjoyed the movie, despite what critics say about how it's bad. I actually enjoyed it because this is an alright movie. It's actually an alright movie, in my opinion. It's an alright movie. When tied into the games, it makes sense in chronological order. It makes sense when tied into the games. As a gamer and a person who plays the games, I'm more inclined to enjoy game movies when they actually make sense in the universe of the games. And it does. Which is good. But yeah. So let's get started. No, wait, no, that's fuck. I can't do that. Glass reflection does that. Shit. I can't. Let's chat. No, wait, that's also what glass reflection does. Shit. Let's boogie. It's time to boogie. There we go. Right, so first thing I'm going to talk about, soundtrack. The music of it. I found it mediocre. It was here and there. I liked some of it, I didn't like some of it. Like, so there was a bit of rock music in there, which I don't think suited. I don't think rock music suits Assassin's Creed that much. It's just personal preference, I suppose. It's just the idea, because Assassin's Creed's whole thing has been, it's grandiose. That's its whole appeal. It's grandiose. You're climbing up massive buildings, looking down over these cities, and there's this music just of an epic proportion. So, like saying Assassin's Creed 2, when you synchronized, it was, in my opinion, the best music in a game ever. Just that music was amazing, and they had something like that at the very end. But before, like, the rock music, I just don't think suited it really well. So, you know, it was an alright soundtrack at times, but at the same time it was bad at other times. I mean, those are the only two real things that I noticed. The rest were all sort of background soundtrack. Those were two in your face, here's like the actual soundtrack. Because I'm not going to count things that are in the background. That's not really what I'm focusing on when I say soundtrack. I mean, like, the in-your-face thing. So, like, the intro soundtrack, so when they're showing the sort of opening credits style, or at the ending credits, again, that sort of music. It was again, like, those are the sort of things that I'm talking about. The in-your-face, or like montage music, because we're gonna need a montage. Sorry, don't reference Team America. We're talking about something entirely different, slightly. Anyway, so yeah, it was a good soundtrack, but it's a bit off, I think, with the style of the games. Yeah. So soundtrack was alright, but not the best. So, let's talk about the opening. This shouldn't be spoilers because I'm only going to be like the first 5-10 minutes maybe. Which is basically just the basics. So first things first, we're in Spain, 1498 I think, or something around there, that 1409, I don't remember. But basically, it's an assassin headquarters. Yeah, all these assassins. This guy's being initiated into the assassins. Yeah, which is the ancestor of the main character, who's clearly the guy who will be visiting in the Animus, which is good. This is good. This is good. But yeah, so we're there, and he's in this dark place. He's looking around. There's loads of assassins. He's spouting his lines. We live in the dark side of the light. We are assassins. Blah blah blah. And finger cut off, the middle finger, so as he is given, well, the middle finger of this one, so as he can use his hidden blade. Because for those that don't know, and it's a tiny thing, like it's a throwaway line basically in Assassin's Creed 2, but they actually kept it to keep continuity, which is amazing. I wasn't expecting it. I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna find something here, and this is gonna completely ruin the continuity of these films. And it's going to be amazing. I'm going to be, nope, I couldn't find anything that would ruin the continuity, like at all, basically. Because, from what I can tell, the movie is set before, I'll get into that later. Anyway, so that happens, he gets his finger cut off, gets given his blade, shows to the camera basically, or just lifts his hand up, looks at it, middle finger missing. Anyway, so, yeah. Then zoom out, follow an eagle, basically, or it was like, the guy says, may the spirit of the eagle watch over you, or something like that, which is kind of weird in my opinion, because last time I checked, the eagle, they never sort of mentioned the spirit of the eagle in the game. It's never been that sort of thing. I mean, the third game, yes, it was mentioned quite heavily actually, but the other games it hasn't really been mentioned. Third game is in not Brotherhood, but the actual third game. So I don't even remember what it was called. Anyway, I think it had a name, Civil War or something. It was about the not the Civil War, the Revolutionary War. But yeah, so we follow this eagle. It's flying over the desert, and then cuts. Basically, it flies up and flies down. Of course, we cut to New Mexico, modern day. Well, not modern day, but we cut to New Mexico, basically almost modern day. And we see this kid on top of a container, or on top of a roof, and there's a container opposite the roof. He's on his bike, and the kid takes the brakes off his bike and pedals towards the container, thinking, he's not going to make it, it's too long. And he doesn't make it. He slams against it and falls off and breaks his neck. Or at least the people who didn't like the movie would hope. He actually just fell onto some soft stuff that he most likely set up beforehand between the container and the roof. Which, fair enough, he survived. But from there he cycles home, basically. Heads into his home. And, yeah. Clearly, he comes in and sees this is where I'm going to say spoilers. Spoilers from this point on. There will be spoilers from this point on. So skip to whenever is above here-ish, probably. Just there's probably going to be like an annotation here saying when to skip to skip the spoilers. But yeah. So basically, he dies. Or not he dies. He comes home, he comes into his house, and lo and behold, his mum is sitting there, covered in blood, dead. And his father's in the corner, looking out the window, in a hood. He's basically an assassin. Yay! And, of course, he grabs his son and goes, they found us, they're coming for us, run. And a load of jeeps roll up. And we see a man with a necklace hanging from his like as a wing, a rear mirror. Rear mirror? Is that what they're called? What the fuck are they called? I don't even remember. A rear mirror like accessory. It's like a necklace. It has the Templar logo on it, so it's clear they're Templars. And so the kid runs across rooftops and stuff, basically jumping, doing the whole assassin thing, which is, although the roofs are connected, so it's not really much of an assassin thing. Anyway, basically, yeah. Then, 30 years later, we jump to 30 years later, and we zoom in on a max security prison, where of course our main character is in a cell. We come into the cell, and we also see a guard. Basically, oh gosh, what's the best word for it? Bringing a pastor, I guess. He basically brings a pastor to the cell, which fair enough. To see Cal, and the Cal jokes, "You're here to save me," then, which, yeah, that's kind of the idea. Anyway, the pastor reads him a few lines from the Bible, and then it's announced that he is being executed that day, and we see him get pumped with drugs. Yeah, he's looking around nervously as the drugs get pumped towards his veins, and then basically when they get in, he's not killed, he's knocked unconscious. Yeah, and he's taken to this facility that he doesn't know where he is, but he wakes up with this woman beside him, like, "Hey, to the world, you're now dead." So that's good for you. And so he's a bit concerned. He runs. He makes a run for it and finds that he comes to what he thinks is an escape. Looks down and sees that he is in fact. It's not an escape. It's a massive drop to the ground. No, you could totally make a leap of faith, but this is an Assassin's Creed game. Come on, it's not an Assassin's Creed game. We can't control him. We can't tell him. Just jump. Just jump anyway. But yeah, so that happens, and we find out, oh, it's an Abstergo facility. There's an Abstergo logo on there. And this brings me to the reason why I think it's set beforehand, because there's different plot details. I mean, that's basically the opening. I think the opening, personally, I think makes sense. It's similar. It's very, very similar to the Assassin's Creed 1 opening, which is, it could be a bad thing, could be a good thing. It's not really, it's indecisive. It's difficult to say whether it's good or bad, because it's, how do you explain? It's bad in that it's repetitive, it's copying something directly, but it's good in that it brings in different details, because the first game, of course, the opening was just you wake up in the facility, you've no clue who your character is or where you are. You don't actually get the option to run around or look around, you just get put into the Animus basically straight away. So it's definitely better because it allows you to see these Abstergo. So it is a bit better than you'd see in the first game, and really just the first game. The second game as well, I guess, had Abstergo facilities, but it's not as important. But yeah, so that's what happened basically. I think it's a good intro. Then there's the reason why I think the movie is set before the games, which I'm pretty certain it is. There may have been something, I'm not sure if it actually is, like, someone might have come out and said that, yeah, it is set before the games, but I'm not sure. The reason being that Abstergo is only one building at this point. It's in Madrid. That's the only Abstergo building there is in the world at that point in time. As well as that, the Templars and Assassins only believe that there's one Apple of Eden, which, as we know from the games, there's hundreds upon thousands of different apples of Eden. So it's definitely probably set. It is definitely set before it. And also, you've seen the Animus in the movie. It's far less advanced than the Animus later. So the Animus later acts a bit like the Animus in the games acts like, oh, it disconnects the nerve impulses from your brain and instead puts them into machines so they can control their ancestors' movements and stuff, which basically what it is. They're just reliving their ancestors' memories, basically. So that gives it that sort of, Oh gosh, what am I trying to say? That gives the idea that this is set beforehand, because this is just a giant machine which lifts them up in the air and has them do those movements in the air, just so they don't hurt themselves, basically. Which is interesting. I'll grant you, it's interesting, but it's weird. Also, it should be stated that in the movie we see, so you know the way desynchronization has worked in the games. We've always seen it like it could be seen as, oh, we just got desynchronized. Why aren't we just kicked out of the Animus and then we can just go back in another time? Well, we're shown that in the movie, which is that when you desynchronize, you actually end up getting this sort of sickness that is really, really bad. Like, the guy ended up in a wheelchair for a while because he desynchronized. That's a spoiler. I did say spoilers. But yeah, so it's that explains why desynchronization kills you in the game, like fully, like just outright. But yeah, no, it's interesting. So it's basically saying the birth of Abstergo, I guess, and the birth of, because as well that the Templars were considering shutting down Abstergo too, which is a terrible idea because, as we know, it grows into a global enterprise later in the games. So you know, but yeah, no, that's the opening basically, and it's a good plot. It genuinely is. It's like it repeats the first game's plot, but it does things differently, like very differently actually. It's like basically they are training Cal by accident. Like I don't think they mean to train Cal, but they are training Cal in the assassin's techniques, by accident, just to make sure they can find this apple of Eden that his ancestor hid. But they're inadvertently training him, which is not the way it worked in the first game, because in the first game they instead used Ezio to train him afterwards. Like in the first game, the Animus didn't train Desmond at all. It was the second game when they got Ezio that they trained Desmond in the assassin techniques. Not before, which is weird. So presumably they made something that made sure they didn't keep the techniques of their ancestors later in the game. I'm sorry, I'm not getting into the science of this, but yeah, no. So basically, what was I going to say? Yikes. Basically, I think it's a good plot, personally. The whole being stuck in a prison by Abstergo, them saying they'll help him slowly inching them closer to the Apple of Eden, etc., etc. It's a fun one. But yeah, so later on in the madness. In the madness? Yeah, sure, why not? But no, we'll skip to the ending. I'll talk about the ending here, because I want to talk about the ending, and I guess if you want to see, if you probably know the rest of the plot if you've seen the movie anyway. But the ending was, it was. So those that are watching this, despite the fact that I've stated spoilers, this is a massive spoilers warning, because clearly the ending will be a massive spoiler. Basically at the end, the assassins have escaped from the facility, and the Templars have found the Apple of Eden at this point. They've been led to it, so they know where it is. But I mean, well, they know where it is and they have it, so they're going to present it to the rest of the Templar Order, the heads of the Templar Order, at a meeting in London. So, with all the Templars that have ever really existed. So, basically, the assassins plan to crash the party. And the guy's having a... The guy whose daughter found the thing is basically having a speech. Oh, we will now rule free will, we will be masters of the human race, blah blah blah. You know, the usual Templar shit. Anyway, and he does that for a bit, and then he just sort of... and we have the assassins come in. They snuck a hidden blade in through many techniques. Like they snuck in different pieces each and then just stuck it all together as one hidden blade. And so they plan to kill him. They plan to kill him. Now it should be noted, this is the first apple of Eden that the Templars have ever found and ever gotten. It's a silver sphere. So it's similar to the one from the Assassin's Creed games that we've seen. The second, I think, Assassin's Creed game had it. I think that's right. Anyway, but yeah, so they end up going in, they kill him, and his daughter tries to find all the assassins and kill them, basically. But they run off with the Apple of Eden, and they have the Apple of Eden, of course, and they just run along rooftops. And this is where the song that I said sounded a bit like something from the second game came in, which was while they were running along the rooftops, the grandiose style sound. And that's just sort of how it ended, them running along, and then credits roll. Like, Cal looks at the apple and then credits. And that's it. It's definitely a... I'm not sure how to say it, because technically it suits the series, because the series has never been big on endings. I suppose it's always been like, technically the struggle goes on until the future anyway, so the endings don't matter really. The struggle will keep going on forever. And at this point we know that it's going on still after this, so we can't have like a big ending where they defeat the Templars or anything like that. But as far as a movie goes, it's a bit odd to have that sort of thing. Like, not only have they've defeated one of the big bad guys and there's no known person to swear revenge or something, but in the continuity, I like the ending. I genuinely like the ending. I don't mind the ending because it makes sense in continuity, and continuity always comes first. Continuity has to come first in the case of game movies. That's a thing that you have to do. If you don't, then that's stupid. Look at the Mario movie, where Luigi isn't Mario's brother, but his nephew, I think? Yeah, that's a thing. Was that a terrible movie? Anyway, point is, I don't mind the plot. I genuinely don't. There is something we're going to get into in a second. I mean, I'll say this. I don't mind it. You guys might not like it. I'm not sure. I like it because I've liked all the Assassin's Creed games. I just don't mind the Assassin's Creed games. They're pretty good, in my opinion. Even the most recent ones, Syndicate and stuff. Now, I will get into the question of some of the things that the Assassins do in the movie, which is, at one point they use this sort of grappling hook. It's not a grappling hook. It's more of he drops a sort of hook in the sand from his hidden blade, so it just sort of drops in the sand, and he holds on to it. It has a rope. It's basically a rope dart from the Assassin's Creed games, so I guess that makes sense in continuity, even though the rope darts didn't come in until the 4th game. Oh well. It technically makes sense for the time period. I guess they could have had something like that. Yeah. Anyway, but we'll talk about the sort of... because there's an idea with the war between the Assassins and the Templars that I noticed very heavily implied in it. Very, very heavily implied. but I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, plot, I will give a round of applause for the plot. It was pretty good storytelling, in my opinion. Anyway, I mean, except for the whole idea of the show don't tell thing, which at the very start was very bad, because I'm pretty sure there was a sentence just literally saying what the Templars and the Assassins have been doing for years. Like, there is the show don't tell technique, and they told rather than showed in that case. But that was one thing that I'll grudge about. Anyway, on to the next point, which was I'll get onto that in a second. Right, so this next point, what was I going to say? Oh yes, the implied battle between the Templars and the Assassins. So for those that don't know, the Templars are supposed to be Christian. The original Templars were Christians in the Crusades. Yeah, so you know that. But assassins in these games or in the movie are implied to be Muslim. Like, it's really hard to explain. Like how they supported the original Muslim monarchy in Spain during the Inquisition, rather than the Templars supported the Christian Inquisition. It's a strange one, because implying that is just stupid, because it's never been like that in the thing. In fact, it's been heavily implied that both sides are not religious. But in this, they were implying that, yeah, they were quite religious, which is weird. It's been implied, like I said, that they aren't. In fact, in the Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed 1 is the only real game where that was the case, because it's set during the Crusades, where they're, of course, the Assassins are, of course, supporting the Middle Eastern countries against the Christian invasion. Like, that's the only time that's ever really been implied. The rest of the time it's always been like, they just sort of are. That they are who they are. Yeah, so I don't really know what it is. Anyway, that's just something I thought I should grudge about, because it's not something I like. I mean, that's just not how it was in the games, and I don't think that's how it should be, because implying that is just implying that there's a war between these two religions, which there's not. There's really not. Like, there's a general sort of tension between the two, because they don't accept the other one's belief, but there's no war or anything, as far as I know. Last time I checked. Well, no, Trump implies that there definitely is a war. Let's not get into Trump right now. Anyway, enough of that. Trump is secretly a Templar. We found the truth. It's how he won. Which means Hillary's an assassin. Gasp. Yeah. No. It's fiction. But so yeah, that's just something I wanted to grudge about. So, just to end this is my final thoughts. It was a good movie in my opinion, and a good tie-in with the game. Even though most people are like, oh, it's terrible, it doesn't fit into the game, it's completely ruined, it's a terrible game movie. It's not. It's really not. It's a great game movie. It's probably the best video game movie that we've ever seen. Well, that's debatable. It's better than Pixels. Anything from Adam Sandler's modern movies are pretty terrible, so, you know, whatever. But yeah, no, I liked it. I personally liked it. Which is why I'm going to say, if you've played the Assassin's Creed games, buy it on DVD. when it comes out, because then it's DVDs aren't as cheap as the cinema, but you get to watch it over and over again. The point is, if you like it, then you'll probably want to watch it again. So you might as well buy it on DVD rather than going to see it in the cinema. Buy it on DVD and watch it. If you like it, then you can do what you want. If you don't, again, you can do what you want. That's just my recommendation. Just buy it on DVD. If you played the Assassin's Creed game. If not, you probably won't like the movie. You probably won't like the movie because it's very, very heavy on the sort of tie-in with the game. Like, I like it because I like the games. Because I played the games, that's why I like it. And I think that's probably what did it, for what made it a good movie for me. The tie-in with the game. So, for anyone who's not played the game, I'd recommend asking someone who, like, if you have a friend who doesn't play the games and has seen it, I'd ask them what they thought of it. If they have very similar tastes to you and they've seen it, I'd ask them what they thought of it, and then I'd decide, personally. It's your call, though. It's your call. Anyway, I've been the one known as Crow, signing off. See you later. Bye-bye. Check out that movie, it's really good. Okay, I'm getting just do what you want.